Good afternoon, traders. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, enjoying yourself, relaxing a little, and preparing for the next week to come. So I'm starting today's webinar with the New Zealand dollar because we are doing these chart of the day. It's a new series. I'm doing chart of the day using the New Zealand. So if you want to see those chart of the day, which is a trade setup with everything in it, how I'm taking the trade, what I'm doing, how I'm following it, also with updates regularly on it. Is the trade active? Is the trade not active? What do you do the trade? Where's the target? What, right? You can see them here in the community. You have to go to community. So you can share this with everybody you know, any trader you know, they can follow it. They're welcome to. And these are short charts that give you detail setups. If you've been following me and you've been following this, you know, please help share it because this week I'll try to post more. I managed to post one or two per week. This chart actually worked well. We had the New Zealand, the yen that actually moved very well. Another question one trader asked is about the risk to reward ratio. So I'll talk about that in the next video. So what I'll do is I'll keep doing follow-ups on these two, and I will post a third or a fourth one, and I'll do follow-ups on those as well. So you're gonna have a lot of short videos here that you need to watch. They will be also on YouTube, but it's better to follow them here. Watch it here, follow, make your comments, ask your questions. I'll try my best to answer them in the community part, not on the YouTube, the public one, right? So please make sure you set your notification to get it when it's happening. You get the notification when I post something in the community, maybe not in the general YouTube channel, but you get it here, right? So please do that, please share it, and that will help someone. Let's go. So let's start today's webinar. I'm going to try to go as fast as possible. I will start it with the New Zealand and the New Zealand yen, then we will go on into the other video. So we were expecting this to come to the 270. We hit the 270. We actually went lower. There was a second trade. I showed you guys the second trade, but it's a short trade. I told you, if you follow the video, I told you it's a short trade. If you're not in, don't take it because they're going to reverse. They did reverse. So now that they've come back like this, the question is what's next? So there are two possible scenarios that I have next. One is this is a running flat. That's a running flat. This is going to go back up. That's one scenario, how this could develop. A second scenario is they just consolidate here. They just consolidate like this, and we get another drop. Now, if they consolidate like that and drop, that's a sign we are going for a big downtrend, a bigger move, much bigger move to the downside. If it actually go back up, there's a big uptrend to get, and both move very fast. So on the 1 hour, we'll watch at this consolidation this week. I will do a small chart with the updates tomorrow and tell you what is happening right now, but I can tell you what they're doing right now. Right now, we're consolidating in this area. So my expectation is it's going to come here. There's a short trade there. I don't know if it's a trade that will give you good risk to reward. I will look at that tomorrow. You probably don't want to take this downside. Let it go. If it stops shorts here to go back up, I will post the buy setup. We will buy above the top here with a stop here for a bigger move up, right? That's the expectation. If they come very deep back to this level, then they will only go back to the top like this. And that means you're going to have this sell setup. So I would say don't jump into the early trade. There is a very small 15-minute trade there early. If you see this, I would not jump into that, right? You see there's 1, 2. This is the corrective part. If this comes back here, we're definitely going to go back up because you see it's going to be a running flat here. Now, it's how deep this come here before they go back up, right? This is going to be 1, 2, 3. If it comes shallow and go, you definitely want to buy. So I will post the buy setup. It might just be a post under the chart, not necessarily a video. You will get a snapshot with all the things, where my stop is, where my entry is, what my target is. And what you're going to look for after that is if it comes deeper, that means I will maybe not take the buy because the buy is a bad risk to reward unless I see there's a good setup for it. But I will be going for the sell, which means the bigger trade would be the sell. We would look for a sell setup here with a stop here to go down for a much bigger move. So which one out of those two are going to happen, I don't know. But right now you can see there's probably a little up. I think when the market open, they might go a little up, but they're going to come back here. This is a short sell. Unless you're a very aggressive trader, you will probably ignore that. If you're not such an aggressive trader, you may look for something like this down. It might even turn out to be a break-even trade, and then we are going to go back up. So this could come lower, or it could stop short here. Either of those two. The only thing that will tell us is whether it's going to continue to go up or whether it's going to continue to go down. We will know that tomorrow. It could also be a much more complex pattern than that. See, sometimes we're going for the simple patterns like this one. See that simple one? That was a good trade. right? I kept that trade all the way to about, I think somewhere here we got out. No, we got out after the news somewhere here, right? The news, there was news, it dropped. We saw the drop. We realized it's gonna come back up. We move our stops, got out of the trade, right? If you got out before the news, well, some of you might have got a break-even trade during the news. So that depends on how you trade that. Like this one, we were expecting a much more simple pattern here. Turns out to be a more complex pattern, but we still got that trade. We got this trade. Most of you got this trade because the first trade you weren't there, so you didn't get it. And we will see that. We'll see what happens here, and then we'll decide. Down or up. That's simple. And the same thing would probably be followed by the New Zealand yen. Let me just go New Zealand yen, right? New Zealand yen is a much longer term trade. You can take a number of trades into it. So the first trade would have been selling the top here. Once they break the top of the stop above, why the stop above here? Good question. Why is the stop above here? Why is it such a big stop? Right? And the simple reason is because this could continue to do this for a while before it falls. Right? You don't know exactly where. Now, you might not sell exactly the top. There's a better way to enter that, but that's a long process for me to tell you when to enter. And by the time I get onto YouTube to say, okay, enter here, and you see the video, it's too late, right? If you're in my room, you get it at a different spot with a different setup. But I can't post those short-term setups on YouTube because by the time it even gets to you, it's gone. So what we are looking for is a sell on this under this one. But remember, this has to make 1, 2, 3. So I said, put an entry here. And if it goes slow, take the entry off. If it drops, keep the entry, right? Now it went slow. Now let's assume for a second that you didn't get out, right? Let's assume this one tagged you. This is as a principle. If it tags you, do this and come back here, close the trade. Now what you do after you close the trade is something I'm going to tell you in my next video. So please watch for the next video. I'll tell you exactly how to get back in the trade if it's going to go, or if you should ignore it and wait for it to go back up. Watch the next video tomorrow. So right now we have this and this. Now, I don't think this is a complete pattern or this entire thing is a complete pattern. There is a very high probability that we might stay here for a while more before we go. Now, can we trade this setup here? Absolutely. We'll repeat the same thing. You will do the first thing. You'll put an entry here if they drop. If I'm wrong and this drops straight through the bottom, you want that entry, right? But if they stay here for a longer time, we can sell the tops again. Don't try to sell this top here now. We'll wait for it to make a flag. And if you get a flag in here, we'll sell that flag to the bottom, put it to break even. I will post that setup if it happens. What if it goes a little higher? We're not going to do anything. If this goes higher, if this here goes higher, we're not going to do anything until we break the top. When we break that top, we're going to sell again. We'll repeat the process. Eventually, this is going to fall. And when that starts to fall, there's a very big move to the downside. Now, what are the chances that you get, they just make a 1, 2, 3, come here and go back up like that? And that is why I said, if we don't get a setup for a sell here, we will not take the sell. If they're going to continue to go back up, we will look for patterns like these and buy, right? Those are buy setups in the way. So let's see what they give us tomorrow. Now, there's a very rare chance of them going up. You can look for an extended running flat like this and say, well, this is going to go back up. It's possible. That's an extended running flat. But because of where they are in the bigger time frame, the chances of downside is very high. And if that starts to happen, you don't want to miss the trade. So let's go back here in the 1 hour and be prepared tomorrow for those. You can put this sell setup just in case they drop through the bottom. Now, that will not be tagged if they're not dropping through the bottom. If they come slow like this, take it off. You don't want the slow move. You want the fast move. Right? So if you notice it's coming slow, 5, 6 hours, it didn't tag you, take it off. If it goes with morning, they open and it goes through, great, that's your trade. You'll have to be there to manage the trade, right? Let's go. By the way, being there to manage the trade, I think that's a very, very important part that most traders are missing. If you add money management and trade management, with some traders, very few people are talking about trade management. Why that is important? Because most traders don't even know how to manage your trade. For you to understand how to manage your trade, you have to understand structure. Is there a change in the structure? Trade management is 90% of what we do in our trading room. In entering a trade and exiting a trade takes you a couple minutes to do. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. That's a click. It's the trade management that is important. What is the trade doing right now? What do you think it can do? What is the pattern showing us? What is the structure saying? What is momentum saying? What is everything else saying in the chart that you said? Should you stay with the trade? Should you move or stop? Should you leave your stop where it is? Should you be taking profit if you're in the profit? All of that is called a trade management. And if you don't do that, if you're a short-term trader and you don't do that, then you're going to get yourself in trouble. If you're an investment trader, then you don't, you have a 5-year plan, you can just buy it and let it go. You have a 1-year plan, you buy it and let it go. You can live through all of that. So it's the type of trading. This what I'm showing is for day traders, people who trade to make money today. So let's go. Let me start. Dollar index. That's a long introduction, but it's so that you guys can understand what I'm doing in the community channel for you. That is real trading you are going to get, right? You have a look of what I'm doing on one single chart, not everything, because we do 50, 60 charts in the trading room. So right now we're in the dollar index going up and sideways. 2 things to expect tomorrow. Depending on what happened in here, we will either continue to go up or we're going to come back down like this and then go up. I think this would make a running flat eventually. So we would either get a running flat tomorrow, or very likely we're not going to get a running flat. We're going to go up like this, maybe pull back like this, and then continue to go. So what you're looking for is, if you look into the pattern, what they had was a drop. We had a drop. We had a pullback, and we're making a flag. That flag breaks to the outside. If it breaks this top, they're going to pull back and then go. If they don't break the top, they're going to drop, and they could continue to go. So breaking the top is super important, because that tells you what the next move is going to be, right? When you're in a correction, whether the correction break the top or not. Now, you're not going to hear that a lot. You have never probably heard that before anywhere, or people who heard me say that say, oh, there's not important tops and bottoms, because they have no clue. You're going to hear it here, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you step by step why breaking the tops and bottoms are important. Some people like to call them head fakes and, false breakout and all of that. Well, it's not really false breakout and head fake. It's what the patterns do. They break the top in a correction, you're making a running flat. It's going to come back here and go. You don't break the top, it could be a regular flat. It could be a total drop, or it could still be a correction for upside. You just have to know how to monitor it. So short trade upside. Let me go into 15. I have to go into 15 for you to see this. Short trade, this could work its way down some more. And if this breaks the low before it go back, that's the next whole story. Because if they break the low and go up, we're selling. We're definitely selling. If they go break the top and come back here, we're buying. We're definitely buying. Now, which one is it? And what if they don't break the top? What if they don't break this low and they don't break that up? Well, you're in consolidation. You would have to wait to see what happens, because both sides are possible. See? And that is the importance of this. Now, I can't tell you which side is going to. I can tell you what the most immediate thing is going to do. It's going to go up. And whether or not they break the top, we'll see you get a down move. So if you can get this down move, great. That's a trade. After that, it's either going to go up or it's going to continue to go down. That depends on whether or not we break the top. Break the top, we're going to go back up. Don't break the top, we're going to go down. Very simple. Let's see. Or they can don't break the top, come back, make the C wave lower than the A wave, but still go back up, right? So that part is complex. I'll try to update that part for you guys. Gold, pretty much going sideways. You can see we're literally going sideways here. It can stay in this sideways like that one and drop. If this is going to go out of this to the upside, we will see a different structure somewhere here. This would probably come here, go back up, and on the break of this, they'll have to make a flag here before you decide to trade it. As long as you're in this channel going down, we're looking for more downside. Silver. See, this pattern was going to go down. We traded this. Remember, from this, I told you they're going to go down. From this one here, they're going to go down. We traded that. We got that trade way down to the bottom. I closed my silver on Friday. I was in the silver sells, short-term sells. I told you they'll likely come back here, and that possibility is still open. But we have to be careful of this one. You've got 1, you've got 2, you've got 3. So you have 1, 2, 3. That was upside because we broke the top. You have 1, 2, 3. You've got 1, 2, 3. Here's the question. Can we look at this as a possible running flat? You probably wouldn't have seen this anywhere else, right? Because not the only people who learn from me look at that running flat the way I'm looking at it. That's not a running common pattern you find anywhere else. So you've got to move up, you've got to sharpen, you've got to sharpen. What are the chances this comes back, make a new high here, and still come down? There's about a 70% chance that happens. So what we will do is we monitor this piece here for the upside or for the continuation to the downside. Go in the 1 hour. Right now, they broke the low and they're coming back up. See? When you have a pattern like this and they break the low, You're expecting them to go. When they break the low, you're expecting this to go. You're not expecting it to break the low and turn. When they do that, what they're saying is there is no more momentum to the downside. See? It broke the low. Perfect pattern. By the way, expanding flat. We saw this. I told my traders they're going to come here and go back up because this would be the sell setup from the top there. So you got this. You got 1, 2, 3. You get 1, 2, 3. Now you're getting this. You have 1. We're going to consolidate here, and it depends what happens in this consolidation. If it stays at the top here, we're going up. We're going to look for buy silver next week, tomorrow, and next week. Very likely we're going to get a buy. There's a very likely probability we're going to get a buy. Remember, we don't have the same thing in gold. See, we don't have the same thing in gold. So if gold is going to continue to go up, I would probably want to see this go out of that structure, make a flag, and then trade it up. But silver might give you a trade to the upside, which is a better trade to trade. Now, if this comes lower, back to this level, we'll make another flat here, and we're going to drop again. So it depends on how that structure develops. It's going to tell you where the next trade is going. Right now, you just have a possibility for an up trade. Right? Euro, we've got to move up, we've got to move down, and we're going sideways. This is likely going to come here. It's going to go back up, and depending on whether we break that low or not, we're likely going to go down. I think it is more likely to go down than up because once this drops, we're going to break this low. There's a high probability for that. If that drops through there, it's going to break the low, and they're going to go back up to give you a running flat and then drop. Here's a good example. See this one? Drop, drop, drop. They make another one, drop. Go back, look at this one. See? This is the low of that impulse. This is the impulse. They came down, make a flat. This drop beyond the low. See, drop beyond the low. They go back up, drop. Right? So we could get the same thing here tomorrow. Drop beyond the low, go back up, and drop. That would be a very good sell setup if that happens. Pang looks more downside right now because you've got a sharp move and you came back really sharp. You got one and you're coming back here. If this comes really low back to this level, that's a buy setup to this top. But once they make that flat, it's downside. Once you confirm that that is a flat for downside, and I think it's going to be a flat for downside, we'll go down. You see this one, 1, 2, 3. This one had a 1, 2, 3 inside, go back up there. We sold because we know that this is going to come down, right? You see that it's coming down. So the question is now, what happens here? Can they actually go back up like this, break the top, pull back here and go? Yes, that is possible. You see, that's the problem with this. I can't tell you which side they're going to go. For me to tell you which side they're going to go, I have to see how this piece here completes itself. Because from this low, we can go back up. But from this low, we can also make one more down. And we can even break through this structure and go lower. So unless I see what the completion of that corrective structure tomorrow, I wouldn't know which side I'm going. So the completion of this corrective structure will give me a clue as to where I'm going. Right now, we're in a correction. This correction looks more downside because of the depth of which this go. You go there, you come back, especially if this come lower and then go back up, we're selling. So for me, that is more, the probability for the downside is higher. But if this piece, instead of coming down, go back up like this, then do this, and you get this running flat, we're going up. See how easy it becomes now? So my traders will get this because we will look at the chart on an hourly basis in the trading room, and we will decide which trade we're going for. I cannot tell you that now. And anytime anybody says, hey, this is going down or this is going, they don't have a clue because they don't know what they're looking for in the chart. You know, the reason why some people believe the chart is random is because they look at this and some people would say, oh, well, this is a correction, we're going down. That is incorrect. That is just incorrect, right? Or some people can look at it and say, oh, well, I see this going up. Why? What's the reason? What are you looking for? It's just a wild guess and you might be correct, right? But I'm telling you right now, unless I get that correction in here, unless I see this corrective part here, and what this piece is doing and where this is going, I can't tell you what is going on. But when I see that, I can tell you, yes, we broke the low here. We're going to go down back one more. Right? That is what we do as wave analysis and pattern recognition. It's wave analysis with pattern recognition. You look for patterns and they tell you what they're going to do. Aussie came up. You have one, you have two. It looks like you're going to get three here. This piece will definitely give you one more up. But it's how far this up is going to go, because this is a flat. They can come break this top. Let me just make that a little smaller. So I'll make this a little smaller. Where's the minus? Yep, got you there. This can come yellow. This can come here, go back up and just keep going. This would be a perfect flat for upside. But once they break that low, get it to break even, because they can come right back down, and then we'll have a 1, 2, 3 for downside. Which is it? Let this drop, we'll look for a buy setup. We'll take a short-term buy setup to the upside, especially if it doesn't come much low. Like if it just tag this low and then go back up, that would be a buy setup. If it comes lower, ignore the buy. Look for a sell. So most likely if they consolidate in here, we'll get downside. So we just have to wait, let the consolidation finish, and then we'll see the direction they're going. New Zealand, I did already. CAD. It went up, it broke the top, came back down, break-even trade. We're looking at this now is making an up move here. See, this piece is going to go up here slightly. We're going to have a flat here. We're going to likely come down like this one. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do a 1, 2, 3 here. We might or might not do another 1, 2, 3 here. And if we get this flat in the middle, they're likely going to come back here and then take off. If I get this pattern next week, I'm going to sit on the CAD for a longer trade to the upside, at least a 500 pip trade to the upside. So the question is it going to do that? Let's go to the 15 to see that. So in the 15 minutes, you can see that this is going to go back up here. We broke the low, so we're looking for a sell. So I'll be looking for a sell setup tomorrow on this, but I'll be aware that once they come here, it can go right back up there. That is a common pattern, by the way. We've seen it many times. Then you would look at this as a 1, 2, 3, and then this would be the deeper correction for another 1, 2, 3 here, but then upside. So is there a chance of this actually doing this and drop through the low? I think that's rare. I haven't seen that as a pattern. It's possible, but it will not go like that. If they're going to go, they're going to probably drop like this, make flags like this, drop like that, and it's not going to go down very fast. And by that time, we'll have enough reasons to show you that, hey, this thing is not going anywhere. Get the hell out of it, right? Sorry, the Swiss. The CAD, the Swiss, US Swiss, we're in the Swiss. The Swiss is going up. It's trending up, and you're going to probably stay with the, you're going to probably look for more buys. Stay with this because it's going very, very strong. These are buy setups. You can see them. You're gonna get more buy setups. We're in this sideways one. Take this off. We're in this sideways move. We came down very sharp here. See, they came down very sharp, went up back. There's a correction in there as well. You're getting a buy setup here. This might go not too far, pull back, and then continue to go. We're looking for that. Right? So if you go on the 15 minutes to see the internals of that, this is what you have. You have a move down. You've got a one up, one down. You're in this one. This is forming, right? So this might come a little more down here. Probably go back up to complete this piece. Probably come back down and then take off. It's going to complete this piece. So you might get some more consolidation here, but it's most likely upside because the momentum to the upside is very, very strong. Yen, we bought from in here and kept it because I saw this and I know when they start to do those little ones, they're going to suddenly take off. Yen is completely trending up. I've been telling you that this pattern is going to go up, right? So it's going up. And there were buys that some of my traders got. You maybe close some. We bought, sold, and I actually got a very nice trade on that one. Friday, I closed it. So we're going to look at this now, and I'm looking for buy setups. So what we have here is a corrective structure forming. You've got a sharp one down here. You've got this. That is downside. You can go for a short sell if you want, short-term sell. And then it might stay here a while or it might just take off. But once they come down, if I take the sell or not, I'm not sure about that. But I'll be there in the Asian session to get that sell. But I'm definitely going to be looking for buys. Once this small correction is finished here, we're going to look for buys. Canadian is at the top. We're making flats. We still have this sharp move here that is not attached to anything. You got another flat here. So they might some point come back, give you this flat, and then continue to go. So there, you can look for a short-term trade here. It might be a short-term trade to the downside. Be careful how you get it. There is no setup for it as yet, but That is the higher probability. Let me show you a few of them so you can understand what I'm saying, right? Here's a good one. Here's one that is similar to this, but a little bigger than that. So here is it. You've got to move down. You broke the top. They give you a buy setup. You got to be careful. Well, this had a perfect sell setup and a perfect sell setup. So this one would have been easy to do, trade that, trade this, and maybe get a smaller setup from the top there, right? Maybe that would have been easy for you. So you see that pattern. Here is where we are. We've got this and we broke the top and we are there now. So what are the chances they're going to come back, do this, and then go? Pretty easy. That's the most common pattern you're going to find, running flats. So please focus on this. Let it come. If you don't get the sell, if you can't find the sell, if there's not a sell setup like this one, perfect like that, then let it go. But you're going to look for the buy once it comes down. I think we'll get a sell setup. I can see the possibility of this falling here, making a flag and then drop. We can get this trade and then we can look for the upside after that, right? So first you might get a sell then a buy. New Zealand yen, I told you about this already. Swiss yen. Okay, Swiss yen is downside. I think we might have completed a running flat there. Let me bring this across here. It's a small one. This is big, this is small, but it is a running flat, right? You can look at that as a running. Or we're probably still in the B part of it. Let's assume that's not the running flat. Then we're somewhere here in the B part of this. With this being, take that off. With this piece here being a flat of its own, which means this is going to continue to go. If you get a sell set up here and you're getting a flag there, you can look for sells. You might pull back, it might pull back. Eventually you might get one of that, but then they're going to continue to go down. So there is a trade to the downside. What you would watch for when it comes down, you see this arrow here, see this one? As it gets to this level, you'll be very careful because possibility is that's a running flat and we're going to go back up. That's a very strong pop. So there is a small trade more to the downside and then very likely upside. Aussie yen. We're consolidating and we'll continue to go up. So this consolidation here is doing this. You might go back there, come back here and then go. Find a flat at the top there and then go. So buying in here would be, if you take any trade within that area, it's going to be very short-term trades. Aussie, Swiss, all Aussie pairs, I've been telling you about the upside in them. You're just getting a bigger correction in all of them. This one actually is almost completing this correction, right? Unless it makes more correction in here. But every time it comes to this low, we look for buy setups, right? So when it comes to the low here, we'll look for buy setup. Probably you get a sell setup. Depending on how aggressive you are, you might get a sell setup here, right? So you might get this sell setup. There might be a sell setup here for you to the downside. But after that, we're buying, right? So when it comes to, what's wrong with this? When it comes to the low here, we didn't break the top, so they're likely going to break the low. We'll look for buys. If you get sells there, it depends on your skill level and where you are, that's good. Aussie CAD, I think we're already at the bottom of this correction. Let's go to the 4 hour. This is the first leg of a bigger correction because we don't have anything to go with it. This is a separate correction of its own. So this is the first leg. You see that first leg down? That's the first leg. We can expect upside, maybe even a little more, depending on how big that correction. The first impulse will tell you how big that correction is. If it stops here and go back up, you'll get short-term trade. Look for a trade down. It might even stay here a while and then go down and then take off like this. See this stay here? Sorry, this piece stay here a while, give you a flat, then drop, then go. Right? I think we're going to be in this range from this top to this bottom, maybe even a little lower, for about a week or two. You can take how long this go, and then we can get it moved. So you can trade both up and down, depends on what patterns you have. Right? Okay, stay out of this. Don't even try to trade it. There's an up trade, but don't waste your time on it. Euro New Zealand, we're getting, remember this one I took from the top here, and I told you we were going to get that up move? Well, I think we might be starting it, right? And you actually have a very good setup for it. You've got one, they work their way up to the top, broke the top, give you a running flat, the most common pattern, come back down, and then go. See how easy it is? The magic works. Running flats are the most common patterns you can get. Here's a good one. Came down, give you that. Remember when we had this, I told you they're going to go back up, drop. This is the one. Don't miss that trade if you can get it. That's a good trade. From there, we're going to go down. We need to make one more up and then down. I think I drew this. If you go back and look at my chart, these arrows were there a while back when I was telling you that this is going to fall, right? That this one is going to fall. We saw that, and this one was a maybe, didn't go well. This was a good one, short term. You see that sell there. Now we expect this up. That is this one up here. We're gonna have a running flat here. One more down, and then that big up, the big upside could start. Now, what if this is the start of the big upside? I think that's rare, but what if that is it? Then you're in the buy setup. What do you care? Look for the buy setup, right? How low this is gonna come before it goes? I don't know. Maybe a little more. That's about it, right? I could see this coming here a little more, and then probably up. So we would look for a setup for a buy here, somewhere from there. If I see a very clear setup, maybe I'll make it a trade chart of the day. Euro Swiss, okay. You've got some more downside. You get the common pattern, and then you look for one more up. At least one more impulse up. Euro Oz, this is definitely looking more downside, but I don't think it's going to fall now because this is coming here. Probably going to go back up. Seems like you're going to get flat in there. You're going to go back up. We're still going to be in this range for downside. Probably stay out of it this week if you don't get any good setup. There are better setups to trade, right? Euro Yen, also there are better trades than this in the market. Better to stay away from it. We're getting just a more complex. They make a running flat. See this? You got a 1, 2, 3. Perfect. This didn't break the top. Now, it doesn't have to break the top, but that's not a good sign when they don't break the top. What happens is this thing becomes more complex. So stay away from that. EuroCAD is making lower lows. We were expecting this to go up. It broke the low. It's going down. I thought when they break the low, they're going to turn, but it looks like we're going to break this low as well. I'm not looking to sell it there, although there was a sell setup, right? I'm not looking to sell it there because the reason is they could break this low and turn. They could break this low and turn. We have one. We have one. Those are sharp waves. This is the most corrective part in that thing. So this at some point here will start to give you that up move, which is going to complete this pattern. Come back down here and then go. So you're going to have this bigger pattern. I can show you one of that in the chart. I don't even have to go far to do that right here. Let's go a little this way. And I'll show you. Take this off. See this piece here? See that flat in the middle there? If you look at it, you'll see. So you had a big move down. You got a sharp move up. You get 1, 2, 3. See that flat there? They went back up and then they came down. So then you get 1, 2, 3. You can take that and bring it across here. Turn it upside down and you're going to have the same thing. You have a big move. You get 1, you get 1, 2, 3. One more down and then you go. Pretty easy. Right? That's most time what you're going to see in the chart. So if they repeat that pattern, good. We can trade it. If they don't repeat that pattern, we just ignore this chart and let it go. Eventually, they'll show you which pattern you're going to get. I'm making a forecast that this pattern is going to look similar to this pattern. Do I know that? I don't have to know that, right? I just have to look at these patterns. What are the internals of that, and what are the internals of this? If it does that, my thing is if they turn here, give me a flag, I'm buying. That's it. It's very simple. If it continues to go down, I'll ignore it. I'll sell something else, buy something else. I'm going to trade the ones that give me the pattern that I know. If this is one is giving me a pattern that I don't know, or it's not behaving the way I expect it to behave, then I just let it go. You don't have to be right about it. You just have to say, based on the forecast, I'm looking for this pattern. You would either be right or wrong on that, right? Most times, if you watch my charts, you would know whether I'm right or wrong most, right? And that's the point. Do I have an edge in the market? Of course, if it starts to go back, I'll get an edge in the market. If it goes down, well, I'm just not in the trade. I'm not losing anything. I don't have to worry about it. It's not like I'm going to be upset about that, oh, it go down. Oh, my God, I didn't get it right. So what? But if it goes up and I miss the trade, well, then I should be darn worried, right? Because, look, I made the forecast. I was sitting here waiting for it. You got to set up and you didn't take the trade. Why? Europe broke the low. What next? I wasn't expecting them to break the low. I thought they would turn from here, go make a high, and then come back. Now we broke the low. So what next? Well, there's a big problem. I still don't see this as the impulse. This is a sharp impulse, but I still don't see this as the impulse, which makes a big question. Are we going to make a running flat here, come back here, and then go? Or am I wrong and this is the impulse and we are going up? Well, in any case, in both of those scenarios, the upside is the trade, right? The bigger one is to the up. I'm wrong and this is totally going up, right? Or they will just come here, make a running flat like that, come back here, and then go. The key thing is both of them are going up. So What I have to see is when this is finished. We didn't stop selling that, by the way. We saw sell setups on it a number of times, right? So this sell setup, some of my traders take. There was a sell setup for break even there. There was another sell setup, this smaller one here, that smaller version. Once you broke out of this in the trading room, this smaller one was a very good one. Because when you break out of a pattern like that, they go very fast. You have to take profit because they reversed it very fast. So you have this now, and we have 1, 2, 3. Looks to me like they make a 1, 2, 3 up there. We can consider this a running flat. Come lower here, depending on how low they come again. We are going to go back up, but depending on how low that come, we're either going to continue to go or we're going to come down for a new low. So the trade we would look for this week is the upside. Once this downside is finished, we're looking for this up trade. And better yet, if we get a correction like that, if we get a move up and a flag like this, that would be just perfect for us. That'd give you the perfect trade setup. Pause. We're still in this big corrective structure and it's not going anywhere. It's just going sideways. Very likely in this sideways, you might come back to about this level or even this level, depending on which pattern completes itself first, right? Pound New Zealand. Okay, so we finally broke that top. What next? Let's go. This is a big corrective structure. You have 1, 2, 3, a perfect running flat, right? You've got one. Remember, we thought this was going to drop. We looked at it and said, and this was a good sell. But then it stopped here and it started to go back up. And I said, okay, what is the next pattern? Where did we miss something here? Right? What is it doing now? We didn't miss anything. We looked at this and that was perfect. But what is a new, bigger pattern they're making? And then we say, you know what? Wait a second. This could just be not the completion of the whole thing, but just part of the pattern. What if we look at this as a running flat? Well, there's an up move here, but we don't have a trade in it. There was no trade setup. It just make one sharp move up to the upside, right? Even if you only 1 hour, there was not much of a trade setup. Just one sharp move up, right? And then they pull back for the correction. And this looks corrective to me. So this could come back here once more, go make a new high, and then we could see the downside start. But if we get a sell set up here, I'll take the trade. If I get a sell set up here tomorrow, I'll take the sell. Even if it does this and go back up, that will be a break-even trade for me. What if this is a smaller version of some kind of a contracting flat in here? Then this is 1, 2, 3, and we're going to fall totally because we broke the top. Right? Breaking the top is enough to say that impulse is over and it's going down, but it's not, doesn't mean it is going down. It's just enough to qualify it to go down. It can still continue to go far more up before it eventually falls. So if we look at this as a 1, 2, 3, which I think it's most likely it's doing, we're going to go 1 more up. So when I get in, if I get a setup for that trade, if I don't get a setup and it just drop like this, I would actually either wait for a sell setup here for downside, or if they go back up and give me a buy setup for upside. Now, if I get the buy setup, that's a short-term trade. Take profit. The minute it stops to consolidate, get the hell out of it because it's going to drop. We'll be looking for the sell setup. Actually, if this came down faster without giving me a setup and then you get this, I'll sell it. Because once they break this low, they can be totally going down. Right? So the sell setup is the first thing we're looking for, but we'll be very cautious on it because it might be a running flat. Again, same here. You're getting a sell setup. This is likely going to come here, but because we broke the top, we're going to go back for 1 more up. At least 1 more up, right? So you get a small trade here and 1 more up. Pound Swiss. That's Pound CAD, sorry. Pound CAD. This is a very good downside. Remember I told you, I want you guys to remember, go back and watch this webinar from this point. From here, watch, or even from here, anywhere in here. Watch my webinar. I told you they're going to make 1, 2, 3, go back to the top there. Remember that, and then they're going to come down here. Go watch the webinars. You'll see those are there. They're documented. They're not like, why? Because we've seen this pattern a million times. These are easy patterns to trade. So guess what? That's a sell setup. But what you're looking for now? You see 1, you see 2, you see 3, but you have this. So don't be surprised if they do this, give you that running flat, and that is a trade you don't want to miss. Right? So if we get and we will likely get a running flat here. The likelihood of this running flat is 99.5%. I'll give you 0.5 being wrong. 1, 2, 3. I want this. Give me that up move there. That's my sell setup. Now, what if it doesn't give me that? Let's just go theoretically. What else could happen? Let's say drop a little more. I'm not in the trade. I can't be in the trade. There's no darn reason to be in the trade. It pulls back, I'm sell. What if they consolidate after they do that? Well, I have one more impulse down. That's it. I'll take one more impulse down. Eventually, they're going to do this. I'm prepared for when they do that. So I'll take this trade as a short-term trade, one impulse, take profit, and expect this to happen. And then you get the bigger sell. The bigger sell will take you all the way to the bottom here. All the way to the bottom here. And when they come to the bottom here, when this comes here, it will go back up again, right? Because we're completing one. We're completing 1, 2, 3. We're completing 1, 2, 3. We still have 1, 2, 3. And guess what happens at the top here? They have to come back down again because we have 1, 2, 3. Well, at this point, it's either up or it's total downside. That depends on how this completes itself. Most likely, it's up. Most likely, it's up. But we will see that. I'll be able to tell you that depends on how this correction completes itself. Then we can tell you from that point. But for now, you're selling this, and we will get a buy up. Pound Swiss. So this is the point where they have to talk to us. Remember, I had that big arrow going up there, and I said, watch it at that level. That's the point where they tell us now. Are we going to come back and make a new low like this? And I mean a new low. Or are we just going to consolidate at the top here and break out of this structure? Right? Those are the two things that can happen here now. Go to the 4-hour. And I think if you're following me and you understand anything, you're saying, oh my God, I can see it. They're going to come a little here, but then they're going to go back up because I can see that pattern. You start seeing them, right? You should start seeing them only if you watch this webinar alone. You don't even need to watch all my webinars to see that. We sold it, pull back. That's a short trade. We thought it will come immediately. Well, you always think it's going to come immediately, and then it gives you a little surprise. That's okay. It doesn't mean it's not coming down. It just means you get a bigger consolidation. As a matter of fact, when my traders sold that, that's the first thing I warned them. I said, guys, this will go a little, and it's going to make a comeback. It's going to go back up and make a bigger one here. You're going to have a bigger one here. And then you're going to get the drop. So they managed to pull some profit out of that. Why? Because they know they're going to expect a bigger one. I think we're doing that bigger one right now. I think we might find ourselves in a bigger consolidation here. Drop to this level and then up. Maybe as big as this, maybe slightly smaller. So just wait for it. When that happens, we're going to come down. I'll just put it like this, assuming that we'll get a pattern in here. It's not an uptrade until you complete that. New Zealand Swiss. This one is easy. Look for the sell setup. The same thing, they dropped. That's a good sell setup, actually. It's not a bad one. This sell setup, but that didn't drop. They pulled back. So when this pulled back very deep, you have to think two things. Well, this one is too small to go with that. It's really too small. So I think we'll have a more complex pattern. We might not even have the running flat I'm looking at. Because if they don't drop immediately and they go back so deep, they might look this, do that. And then you might get a bigger flat in the middle here. You might get more upside. You might come here and then go. So it could be any number of complex patterns. I don't think this one will go tomorrow. This will be more of a complex pattern. Just stay away from it. Let's see what consolidation we get there. Then we'll decide. Eventually, it will break this low. But it could stay in here for a much longer time. New Zealand CAD, this one is going down. Let's see if we have any structure at this point that we can, well, now you just have to watch. This one I think is negated. I don't think they're gonna, that one is anymore. It could still go back up. We could still see this, or we might see a much bigger one as well. I think the smaller one is the first version. I'll be looking for this first. Looking for a move up back to the top. It is still not the bigger move to the upside. It will just probably go break the top and come back. So short term, you might get a sell setup here. This might give you a sell setup in the short term, which means it might just break the low a little, but the upside is very likely. So if they break the low, you take that trade, you have to be very, very careful. I don't see them going down totally here because there's a big consolidation. It doesn't fit in the whole structure that we're looking at, right? Cat Swiss, this one, is going to go down to give you this, but it's not ready. It's not there as yet. If they made another consolidation, see this one drop. That's a small trade. They made a flat. They're making a new high. Okay, no problem. They could make another flat, make a new high, make another flat. Eventually they get this and then up more upside. So let's see if you get that. I'm not looking for a buy at the top there. I'm looking for a sell. I'm still looking for this one, right? So the first one there didn't go well. This one didn't go well. If you took the trade, you probably got break even out of it. It's going. Let's see if we get another drop. Another drop should be this one. Go for the sell again and let's see what happens. And then upside, right? So I think that's all for Forex. Forex pairs are a lot. I'll be honest with you, they're quite a lot. So I'll probably take out some next week, make this shorter. If you want me to take out some, tell me the ones that you don't trade. You can come under this Forex, comment that the one you don't trade, and give me the ones that are, worse, that less of you. Vote for them. Probably select the ones you don't like or you don't trade, and everybody can vote them. We'll take out about 5 or 6 of them, right? We can take out up to 10 if possible, so that it's shorter and we focus on the ones traders trade, right? We do have a lot more trade that we trade in our trading room. We trade Mexican in our trading room. We have people from Mexico in our room who trade the Mexican. We have people from Norway who trade the Norwegian krone. We have the Swedish krone. We have a lot of pairs here that we don't look at. Singapore, we have people from Singapore who trade the Singaporean dollar. So they trade their local currencies, right? The guys in India, they trade rupee. We don't even have the rupee on here, right? So our traders trade a wide range of things that I can't do in these short videos. So for the cryptos, there's a lot of recommendation. Tomorrow, I will put the recommendation out in the poll. I will try to add as much as I can, but I'll still put the recommendation out in the poll so you guys can do it. So you will get the crypto one tomorrow and you will get the stock one tomorrow. Sorry, guys, this week was really busy. I was trying to do them on Saturday. Time was a very, very difficult thing. I have a family and I really enjoy time with them. So I tried to take the maximum time I can with my family because tomorrow is not guaranteed to me. A very good friend of mine died tragically not too long ago. I learned of it only on Friday. It's very sad. He's a very, very nice guy. But I am once more reminded that life is not guaranteed to be there tomorrow. Enjoy today with your family. Ignore every other person that is not bringing any value to your life and spend more time with the people who add value to your life. I have an amazing trading group and I enjoy being with them in the trading room every single day. I go there 5-6 times a day. I have an amazing family and I enjoy spending time with them. So you'll have to forgive me on the weekends if I can't bring the video too fast for you. You will get them tomorrow. I promise you that. I don't like to promise things. If you know me, I hate to promise things. But I will try my best tomorrow to do that. Right? So all of you have a great weekend. If your weekend is over and you're going to sleep, get some good sleep. See you tomorrow. I will post 2 or 3 videos tomorrow because I'll post the update on the charts of the day, and I'll post those 2 webinars on the cryptos and the metal. Please help share these videos. I'll tell you why. There are thousands of traders out there struggling they've never seen my videos, or they've seen it, but for a period of time when I was sick and I was away, I've stopped. I was sick with the COVID, for those of you who didn't know, and I had a few other issues that were going on in my life, right? So I was away for a while. Now I'm back. And some traders, they left, but as soon as they know I'm back, they're right here. Please help them see it as well. Because the analysis, I think they find value in it. If you find value in it, then somebody else might find value in it. So let's share it. Let's make sure more people trade. There are thousands of traders out there who need to see this so that they can learn basic patterns. They don't have to join me in my group. That's irrelevant. I think out of every 10,000, 2 or 3 will join who watch my videos because, a lot of people know why I exist and they know my videos. Not necessarily they have the money to join the course, right? I'm not in the business of selling courses. So I don't do all kinds of fancy reduction. I don't have basic course, platinum course, and all those stuff. Those are people who are in the business of selling courses. If you're a senior trader, if you're a serious trader and you want to learn, you'll join me eventually. That's my concept. So all of you have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself, and I would see you next week. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.